Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today is a watch from AliExpress, and I don't buy that many watches from AliExpress unless I think there's something interesting or original. And this watch today is both interesting and original. It's a skeleton from a brand called AGELOCER. I paid for it with my own cash, and at the end of the video I'd like to give it away to you. Well, one of you at least, as a belated thank you to all my subscribers as the channel passed the 2,000 subscriber count. Anyway, onto the watch. I said it was a very interesting one, and I think you'll probably agree with me, especially those of you who enjoy skeletons. So let's get into the review. So here we are, specs on the AGELOCER Schwarzwald skeleton. So what we've got here is a 41mm diameter case. It's 11mm thick, including the crystal. It's a 20mm lug width, and the weight is 130.6 grams. That's size for my 17.5cm wrist. So nice dimensions so far. It's made of 316L steel, as you'd probably expect by now. It's 50 meters water resistant, and it's a push-pull crown. There is a 49.5mm lug-to-lug measurement. The crystal is synthetic sapphire. Now, I don't really know what that is. It feels like sapphire, but who knows? And the caliber is an A4910. We'll come back to that. Normally, at this point in the review, I'd show you lots of nice studio shots with great lighting, and you'd be able to see all the nice details of the watch. That's the theory anyway. However, this watch is a pain in the arse to film in unnatural light. To be honest, it only really comes alive in daylight, so I pretty quickly gave up trying to get everything done in the studio, and I'm going to take you guys out with me to the dog park, and we will film this one out in natural light. If you want to know what happens when you get a cute dog, you used to sit in the front seat, and now things change, and you find yourself sat in the back seat. Anyway, let's take the focus on the video back to the AGELOCER, and let's talk a little bit more about the skeletonization and the dial with this. So the watch is really heavily skeletonized. There's skeletonization and there's skeletonization. And what AGELOCER have done here, as far as I can tell, is take the internals of a Hangzhou movement, which is, by the way, typically, in my experience, a really good brand of Chinese movements. And they've put their own plates and sort of skeletonized it themselves. So they've kept a lot of the gear train, but they sort of hint that it's in-house, but it's kind of not in-house. I would say it appears to be more of a modified movement. But what they have done is a fantastic job of the skeletonization, that is no doubt. With this watch, as I mentioned in the introduction, you might not be able to quickly tell the time, but when you look down at the wrist, it's hard not to be impressed by the skeletonization and the finishing of it under macro. Not only is it super skeletonized, but it holds up close, which is, you know, for a watch costing, well, I paid 180 Canadian dollars, it's actually phenomenal. It's far less industrial and more polished looking under macro than the pullover I reviewed a little while back, and that was 3 times the price of this, so it's a huge difference. Of course, the drawback is, as I've mentioned and told you a couple of times, it's not so easy to tell the time. Especially in low light. I think that's partly why I'm struggling to film it indoors. It's really difficult to see the indices and the hands. They are only really visible when they reflect light, and outdoors on a sunny day, it's really no problem. But when you're indoors, you do have to flick your wrist a little bit to kind of catch a glimpse. And that's why I think this piece is not going to be a watch that you would have as your sole watch every day, but it's something fun, it's something to enjoy mechanical watchmaking with, because everything is on view. And this is really part of the fun. This is why I love skeletonized watches, because I don't want to forget that the watch is mechanical. I want it to be in my face every now and then. Like I said, maybe not every day, but as a fun piece, as something that I can just enjoy on certain days, and that is what this watch is fantastic at. There won't be any loom shot today because there isn't any loom. It is worth pointing out that despite the lack of visibility, they have made a somewhat of an effort because the indices and the hands are at least angled. They've got opposing chamfers, and that does help to catch the light a bit. Something else that I like is there's not a lot of text on the dial. It just has the brand name AGELOCER. I don't know if that's how everyone pronounces it, but it's not the worst anyway of the AliExpress names, I don't think. It doesn't sound like a sexually transmitted disease, which is always a bonus. That said, it does make me think of some sort of anti-aging serum. But yeah, I mean, I can deal with it at this price for what you're getting with the watch. Finishing is not just great inside the watch and inside this modified movement. It's fantastic all around the watch. The brushing on the case is very high quality. Great definition between the polished and the brushed surfaces. And the bracelet, albeit fully polished, so a scratch magnet, is incredibly comfortable. The only thing that I wish with the bracelet is that they had some sort of adjustment or half link. So yeah, a bit of a negative on that. Maybe something for AGELOCER to improve on their future pieces. I did almost forget as well, the crown is signed with their logo, as you'll also see on the bottom of the bracelet where that butterfly clasp is. I've said already that I've had really good experiences with Hangzhou movements, and I've had some of the GMT movements, I think 3 or 4 times on San Martin and Chronos watches before they switched to the Seiko NH34s. And actually I thought they were always fantastic. I had one even for a couple of years, never had an issue and kept fantastic time, really good time. And even with this, putting it on the time grapher, putting it into different positions, it's a really good performer. Again, for the price you're paying, I think it is performing excellently. The 2 drawbacks with the movement for me is the winding doesn't have the most refined sound, and when the rotor is spinning, it's also not the nicest. I think they could have probably doubled the amount of bearings there holding the rotor on to give it a little bit of a smoother feel. It doesn't have a Miyota wobble, it just doesn't sound particularly nice. But looking in the back of the watch, also another display case back, and again, really nicely finished. Everything looks far more expensive than it actually is. So the positives with this watch, I think it's just a very interesting piece. It's something for a collector that's already perhaps got a dive watch, a dress watch, and just wants something a little bit different, something fun, something that you're not going to take too seriously. And I think this offers fantastic value for money in that situation. I remain incredibly impressed with the finishing. It punches way above the price point on the case and inside the movement. It really does look and feel like a far more expensive watch than certainly what I paid for it. I don't normally talk about packaging with watches, but the packaging is actually really nice with this watch. It feels very premium. It feels a little bit like they've seen what Swiss watch companies are doing and how to make something feel nice and feel like an expensive purchase, and kind of replicated that. And normally I would say, no, spend the money on the watch, don't give me the nice packaging. But in this case, it doesn't feel like corners have been cut on the watch. So by all means, yeah, it's a bonus. And the drawbacks with this, I mean, they could have stuck with this nice faux heat-treated hands and indices with this blue and just had everything with a white surround. Made that loom as well. It would have made everything stand out, and it would have made it legible in low lighting or indoors, or without having to roll your wrist. So it's the biggest drawback for sure. Second of all, I'm not sure if I like the watch face being significantly smaller than the actual diameter of the watch and the skeletonization plate that sat behind it. Maybe it would look better if it was stretched out fully and the indices actually went right up to the edge of the bezel there. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. The next drawback, I did mention it when we were going through the video, no micro adjustment, no half links. I really hate it when watch brands do this and give you a butterfly clasp. You've got a chance of getting a really good fit, but you've got a chance that it might be a little bit too loose. And the final point, 100 meters of water resistance and a screw down crown would be much appreciated. I'm always cautious with something rated for only 50 meters. If it does end up getting submerged for any reason, there's always the chance that water ingress can occur. Anyway, overall, despite its obvious flaws. I think it's a really cool piece. My fiance said to me, "Wow, what a beautiful looking watch. I can't believe you're giving that away." So hopefully this is still a good one to give away and you guys like it as much as I do, despite it not being the most legible watch on planet Earth. So how can you win it? Let's turn the camera around. Well, all you need to do is make sure you are first subscribed to the channel. The button is somewhere down there, just in case you're not. Second of all, click the bell notification icon, because a subscription these days on YouTube will not really show you anything. It's really just a number that will show you when my videos pop up. And finally, please leave a comment on the video, and I will use a random comment generator in 1 week's time from the upload of the video to select the winner. And just in case you're feeling a little bit sneaky, don't try and claim the comment if it's not yours, because I will be asking the winner to edit the comment which I pin, and I will be checking that. So yes, there's no cheating on this, but it will be a fair competition, open to everybody wherever you are in the world. And again, I thank you so much for supporting the channel and enabling this to be a success after a modest 18 months or so on YouTube. It's really appreciated. And this will be my last video, aside from the giveaway result, for a good few weeks now with moving house. So thank you very much. I've still got a lot of watches coming, and I will see you all for more reviews very soon. Cheers.